Frozen mixed berries and raspberries sold at Aldi are recalled due to potential hepatitis A contamination. Wawona Frozen Foods recalled the packages of Season's Choice frozen berries. It's the 12-ounce bags of raspberries and 16-ounce bags of mixed berries with specific best buy dates. Hepatitis A can cause liver disease and progress to liver failure. Customers who purchase these berries should return them to where they bought them for a full refund. Katie Johnston for CBS Local News.
Aldi employees talk, especially in the break room. We asked current and former workers which frozen items they buy themselves. These are the ones they quietly stock up on before a shift ends. Their answers surprised us. Some of these items sell out in hours. Employees grab them first. Customers don't even notice they exist. A few of these products never even get advertised. They just sit quietly in the freezer aisle. They wait for someone to notice. Here are 12 frozen Aldi finds. Workers say you should never walk past them. Number 12. The Take and Bake Pizza. Nobody talks about most shoppers. Head straight for the name brand pizza aisle. That's a mistake. It's an easy mistake to make too. The packaging looks simple. It's almost forgettable. It sits next to flashier boxes with brighter labels. Aldi's Take and Bake Pizza sits quietly in the freezer section. It's priced at just a few dollars. Employees say the dough is made fresh. It's not frozen solid like most competitors. One stalker told us, "I've worked here for 3 years. I buy this pizza every single week. It tastes like something from a real pizzeria, not a freezer aisle. The crust crisps up differently than a standard frozen pizza. That's because it starts as raw dough. It's not a pre-baked shell. Employees recommend baking it directly on the oven rack for the last few minutes. It gives the bottom a crunch. A baking sheet can't replicate that. Word has spread slowly, but once shoppers try it, they rarely go back to name brand frozen pizza again. Employees say the biggest tell is the box itself. It stays cold and firm right up until the moment it goes in the oven. Some competitors arrive slightly soft. That happens from sitting too long in transit. A few staff members also pointed out that the dough works just as well for homemade calzones. Fold it over a handful of fillings. Seal the edges. Bake it for a completely different meal using the exact same product. Some employees have started experimenting further. A few add extra toppings straight from the deli counter before baking. That turns a $3 pizza into something that rivals delivery. Others say the dough freezes well too. Buying a few extra and storing them for later is a smart move before a busy week. A handful of employees also swear by adding a drizzle of honey over pepperoni before baking. They claim it balances the saltiness nicely. Few customers ever think to try it. Some even keep a jar of chili flakes nearby specifically for this pizza. They say the crust holds up to bold toppings better than most frozen versions on the market. That's just the beginning, though. Number 11 is something employees say sells out within hours of restocking. Once you hear why, you'll understand the rush. Number 11. The Frozen Fruit That Vanishes. By noon. Aldi's Season's Choice. Frozen fruit doesn't look special. Plain bags. Simple labels. It's easy to walk right past it. It's tucked between more colorful boxes with bigger branding and louder packaging. But employees say this is one of the fastest-selling items in the entire freezer section. The fruit is flash frozen at peak ripeness. That locks in flavor better than fresh fruit that's been sitting on a truck for days. One employee explained, "We restock the fruit section twice a week. By noon, on restock day, half of it is already gone." Regulars know the schedule. Smoothie lovers buy bags in bulk. Bakers use it for pies and cobblers without worrying about spoilage. The mango and mixed berry blends disappear first. Employees say if you see them on the shelf, grab several bags immediately. Even the plain frozen strawberries get singled out quite often. Staff describe them as noticeably sweeter than what most competitors sell at a similar price. Employees also mentioned that the fruit rarely clumps together in the bag. That's a small detail. It makes a bigger difference than it sounds when you're trying to pour out just a handful for a single smoothie. There's a reason beyond taste, too. Employees mentioned that the fruit gets sourced seasonally. Certain blends only show up for a limited stretch before disappearing until the following year. That seasonal rotation is part of what keeps shoppers checking back so often. Nobody wants to miss the one window when their favorite blend is actually in stock. A few employees also mentioned freezing the fruit into portioned bags themselves right after buying. That makes smoothie mornings even faster during the busiest part of the week. Speaking of things you shouldn't miss, if you want to catch these hidden Aldi secrets before other shoppers do, hit that subscribe button right now. We post new employee tips every single week. Now, if fruit disappearing fast surprises you, wait until you hear about the chicken. Number 10 involves a product employees say outperforms a name brand costing twice as much. Number 10. The breaded chicken. That tastes homemade. Frozen breaded chicken usually feels like a last resort. Something you grab when you're too tired to cook. Most versions taste exactly like that too. Bland, rubbery, forgettable after a few bites. Aldi's version changes that entirely. Employees say the breading holds up in the oven without turning soggy. That's a problem that plagues most frozen chicken brands. That's a bigger deal than it sounds. Soggy breading is easily the #1 complaint shoppers have about frozen chicken in general. A few staff members also recommended the buffalo-style version for anyone who wants a spicier option overall. It holds its kick well after baking. It doesn't turn bland the way some frozen buffalo products tend to after reheating. One longtime worker told us, "I've tried the big-name brands. This one has more seasoning and a thicker breading. It doesn't taste like cardboard after baking." The chicken parmesan version is the one employees mention most. Bake it. Add sauce. Add cheese. It tastes like something from a restaurant. Some workers say they've stopped buying breaded chicken anywhere else since Aldi added this to their freezer lineup. A few employees also mentioned the plain breaded tenders as an underrated option. They hold up well in an air fryer. They come out crunchy without needing any added oil. Families with picky eaters seem to gravitate toward this one especially. Employees say it's one of the few frozen chicken products that kids and adults both ask for by name. A few staff members mentioned pairing the chicken parmesan version with a side of the frozen stir-fry vegetables. They call it one of the fastest complete dinners they make on busy weeknights. That kind of loyalty doesn't happen by accident. And number 9 is a dessert item. Employees say it's the single most requested product when it goes out of stock. Number 9. The ice cream. That gets special requests. Aldi's Belmont ice cream line doesn't get much attention online. It should. Scroll through most grocery roundups and this brand barely gets mentioned. Employees say that's a shame. The quality quietly rivals brands that spend millions on marketing. Employees say customers walk up to the counter specifically asking when certain flavors will be restocked. The texture is noticeably creamier than typical store-brand ice cream. It's closer to what you'd expect from a premium pint. One employee said, "We get requests for the cookie dough flavor constantly. When we're out, people leave without buying anything else. That's how loyal they are to this ice cream." The price stays low even as name-brand ice cream keeps climbing. A single container often costs half of what a comparable pint costs elsewhere. That price gap widens even further during holiday sales. Employees say the limited flavors get marked down further. They still sell out within a day or two. A few staff members mentioned that the mix-in flavors have more actual mix-ins per container than pricier competing brands. Think cookie pieces or caramel swirls. Customers notice almost immediately. Employees recommend letting it sit out for a few minutes before scooping. The texture softens perfectly without turning to soup. A handful of workers also pointed to the seasonal flavors as the real hidden gem. Pumpkin and peppermint versions show up briefly. They vanish just as fast. That keeps regulars checking the freezer case every visit during those months. One worker summed it up simply. People treat the seasonal flavors like a countdown. Once they're gone, customers start asking when they'll be back. It happens every single season without fail. A few employees mentioned buying an extra container specifically to hide in the back of the freezer at home. They admit they didn't want to share once they found their favorite flavor. That's a strong recommendation. But number 8 involves a snack that employees say disappears almost as fast as it's stocked, especially around the holidays. Number 8. The frozen appetizers. Nobody saves for guests anymore. Aldi's frozen appetizer section includes spring rolls, mozzarella sticks, and stuffed pretzels. All ridiculously cheap. It's the kind of section shoppers usually only visit right before a holiday or a party. Then they forget about it for the rest of the year. Most shoppers buy these for parties. Employees buy these for themselves. One worker admitted, "I used to buy these only for get-togethers. Now I just keep a bag in my freezer as a snack. They're that good." The mozzarella sticks in particular get mentioned often. Employees say the cheese pulls exactly like a restaurant version. There's no greasy aftertaste like some frozen brands have. Cooking them in an air fryer instead of an oven gets an even crispier result, according to several staff members we spoke with. The spring rolls get less attention online, but employees say they're just as popular in the store. A quick dip in sweet chili sauce turns them into something that could easily pass for takeout. One employee mentioned keeping a bag specifically for unexpected guests. They cook from frozen in under 15 minutes with almost no cleanup afterward. The stuffed pretzels round out the section nicely, according to several workers. They pair well with a simple mustard dip. They disappeared just as quickly as the mozzarella sticks during any gathering. A handful of staff members mentioned that these appetizers hold up well as a lunch on their own too. Pair 2 or 3 different items together on a plate, and it becomes a full meal without much effort. These are the kind of items that quietly become a household favorite. Number 7 takes that idea even further, with a product employees say replaced their regular breakfast routine entirely. Number 7. The frozen breakfast sandwiches. Mornings at Aldi start early. Employees need something fast before opening the store. There's no time for a sit-down breakfast. The store opens in minutes. The shelves still need stocking. Many of them reach for the frozen breakfast sandwiches. They say the quality convinced them to stop making breakfast from scratch. The sausage, egg, and cheese version comes up most often in conversations with staff. One employee said, "I microwave one in under 2 minutes before my shift starts. It's filling, it's cheap, and it actually tastes like eggs, not rubber." Compared to name-brand freezer sandwiches, employees say the portions are noticeably larger for a similar price. The English muffin version gets fewer mentions, but employees say it's just as solid. It offers a lighter option for anyone who finds the biscuit version too heavy first thing in the morning. A few staff members also suggested adding a slice of fresh tomato or avocado after microwaving. They say the small addition makes the sandwich feel a lot less like a frozen shortcut. It feels a lot more like something made fresh that morning. Parents have picked up on this too, packing them for school mornings when there's no time to cook. Employees also mentioned a trick for improving the texture further. Wrapping the sandwich in a paper towel before microwaving keeps the bread from turning soggy. Most people never think to try it. For anyone who skips breakfast entirely most mornings, staff say this is the easiest habit to start. It takes less time than waiting in a drive-through line. A few employees also mentioned keeping a stack in the freezer at work. They treat them as an emergency backup for whenever a shift runs longer than expected and there's no time for lunch either. That kind of convenience matters. But number 6 is a side dish. Employees say quietly outsells almost everything else in its section. Number 6, the mac and cheese bites. That keeps selling out. Mac and cheese as a snack sounds unusual. Aldi made it work anyway. On paper, it sounds like a strange idea. It turns a classic side dish into something you eat with your hands straight from a bowl. These bite-sized frozen pieces combine crispy breading with a gooey cheese center. Employees say the combination keeps customers coming back weekly. One stalker explained, "These sell out faster than almost anything in the freezer aisle. We can barely keep them stocked over the weekend. Kids love them because they're easy to eat with hands. Adults love them because they reheat perfectly in an air fryer without drying out." A few employees mentioned dipping them in ranch or hot sauce. That turns a simple side dish into something closer to a full snack plate. Others said the bites hold up surprisingly well as a party appetizer. They reheat evenly. They don't turn rubbery the way some frozen cheese products do after sitting out for a while. One stalker joked that these disappear from the shelf faster than actual desserts. That says a lot about how often customers reach for them. A few workers mentioned pairing them with a small side salad. That turns what started as a snack into something that passes for a light dinner on nights when nobody feels like cooking a full meal. A few staff members also said the bites work surprisingly well tossed into a bowl of chili. They add a crunchy, cheesy texture that a plain bowl usually doesn't have. This next item continues that trend of turning something ordinary into a customer obsession. Number 5 is where things get even more surprising. Employees say this product single-handedly changed how they shop for dinner. Number 5. The frozen salmon. That costs less than fast food. Seafood at a discount grocery store sounds risky. Employees say it shouldn't. That reputation follows discount grocers everywhere. It keeps a lot of shoppers from even checking the seafood freezer at all. Aldi's frozen salmon fillets are individually wrapped. That means portions stay fresh without needing to cook the entire bag at once. One worker told us, "I buy this instead of ordering takeout some nights. It's cheaper than a fast food meal, and it's actually good for you." The fillets come pre-portioned. That takes the guesswork out of cooking for 1 or 2 people. Employees recommend cooking it straight from frozen in the oven. Skip the thawing step entirely for a firmer texture. A few workers also mentioned pairing it with the frozen stir-fry vegetables from later on this list. They call it one of the easiest weeknight dinners they've ever put together. Portion control comes built in too, since each fillet is wrapped separately. That makes it easy to cook exactly what you need without wasting anything. A few employees also mentioned the shrimp nearby in the same freezer case. They call it just as reliable for a quick dinner when salmon isn't what they're in the mood for that night. Several staff members also brought up the frozen tilapia as a budget-friendly alternative. They say it cooks up mild and flaky. That makes it an easy option for anyone who's still getting used to cooking fish at home. If this list has been useful so far, do us a favor. Hit that like button and share this video with someone who still thinks Aldi's freezer section is nothing special. Now, seafood being this good was surprising enough. But number 4 involves a comfort food. Employees say has a cult following inside the store itself. Number 4. The frozen pierogies. Employees fight over. Pierogies aren't exactly mainstream in American grocery stores. Aldi stocks them anyway, and employees are obsessed. Plenty of shoppers walk past this section without even knowing what a pierogi is. They definitely don't know why staff members are so attached to them. The potato and cheese filling gets the most praise. Staff describe it as tasting closer to homemade than store-bought. One employee laughed when we asked about this one. We joke that whoever finds the pierogies on the truck first gets to buy a box before it hits the shelf. It's basically a competition. Boiling them briefly before pan-frying in butter gives a crispy exterior. Microwaving alone can't achieve that. A quick dollop of sour cream on top rounds out the dish, according to several employees. It gives the dish a finishing touch that most people always forget to add. The price point makes trying a new comfort food low risk. That's part of why so many customers keep coming back for more boxes. A few employees said the sauerkraut and onion topping, sold nearby in the same freezer case, pairs perfectly. It turns the whole meal into something closer to a restaurant plate. Others simply pan-fry a whole box and freeze the leftovers again. They treat it as a meal prep staple rather than a one-time side dish. A few employees also mentioned the sweet dessert pierogies, filled with fruit instead of potato. They call them an underrated dessert option that most shoppers never even realize exists in the same freezer case. A light dusting of cinnamon sugar right before serving turns them into a dessert. It feels far more intentional than a simple frozen side dish. A few employees also mentioned that the pierogies freeze well even after boiling once. Leftovers can go right back into the freezer instead of getting tossed out after a single meal. That kind of dedication says a lot. Number 3 takes it a step further, with a product employees say they specifically wait for restocks on. Number 3. The cookie dough made for eating raw. Regular cookie dough isn't meant to be eaten unbaked. Aldi's version was designed differently. That distinction matters more than it sounds. Most cookie dough on the market carries a warning label for a reason. This edible cookie dough uses heat-treated flour and no raw eggs. That means it's safe straight from the container. One employee said, "I've bought this so many times my coworkers make fun of me. It's genuinely better than some of the dedicated cookie dough brands at specialty stores." Baking it is optional. Most employees say they eat it directly from the tub with a spoon. The chocolate chip version sells out fastest, according to multiple staff members across different store locations. A few workers mentioned keeping a tub in the freezer at all times. They treat it less like a baking ingredient and more like an actual dessert on its own. Others use it as a mix-in. They crumble it over ice cream or blend small amounts into milkshakes for an extra layer of flavor. A few employees also mentioned the birthday cake flavor as a personal favorite. They say it disappears from shelves almost as quickly as the classic chocolate chip version does. A handful of staff members also said it works surprisingly well pressed flat and frozen into a thin sheet. It can then be broken into pieces for an easy no-bake treat that takes almost no effort to prepare. That brings us close to the top of the list. Number 2 is a product employees describe as the most underrated item in the entire freezer section. Number 2, the stir-fry vegetable blend. That replaces meal. Prep meal prepping usually means chopping vegetables for an hour before cooking anything. Aldi's frozen stir-fry blend skips that step entirely. That single hour of prep work is often the reason people give up on meal prepping altogether before they even start cooking. The mix includes broccoli, carrots, snap peas, and peppers. It's all pre-cut and ready to cook straight from the bag. One employee explained, "I use this 3 or 4 nights a week. It cuts my cooking time in half, and the vegetables don't turn mushy like some frozen blends. Adding it to rice, noodles, or protein turns it into a complete meal in under 15 minutes. Employees say the quality stays consistent bag after bag. That's rare for frozen vegetable blends at this price point. A few workers pointed out that the vegetables hold their color and crunch even after cooking. Some competitor blends turn gray and mushy in the pan instead. Meal preppers in particular have latched onto this one. Cooking a double batch on a Sunday and portioning it out covers several lunches without much extra effort. A few employees mentioned tossing it with a splash of soy sauce and a fried egg on top. That turns a simple vegetable side into something close to a full stir-fry meal in minutes. A handful of staff members also said the blend works well roasted in the oven instead of pan-fried. It gives the vegetables a slightly caramelized edge that a quick sauté doesn't produce. And now, the number 1 frozen item employees say you should never, ever walk past. This is the one product that came up in almost every conversation we had. Number 1, the pretzel bread. That employees buy by the armful. Frozen pretzel rolls. And pretzel bread sit in a section most shoppers overlook completely. It's tucked near the regular bread. It's easy to miss between more familiar loaves and buns that shoppers grab on autopilot. Employees say that's the biggest mistake shoppers make in the entire store. The bread bakes up with a genuine pretzel crust. It's salty and chewy, matching what you'd expect from a specialty bakery. One longtime employee told us, "I buy 4 or 5 bags whenever we restock. My coworkers do the same thing. It's the one item everyone on staff agrees on." Used for sandwiches, sliders, or simply toasted with butter, employees describe it as one of the most versatile items in the entire freezer aisle. A few workers said the rolls hold up especially well for pulled pork or brisket sandwiches. They absorb sauce without falling apart the way regular buns often do. Others simply toast a roll, split it, and add butter and a sprinkle of salt. They treat it as a standalone snack rather than a sandwich base. A few employees also mentioned turning the smaller rolls into pretzel dogs. Wrap a hot dog in the dough before baking for a homemade version of a ballpark favorite. A handful of staff members also said the bread makes an excellent grilled cheese. The pretzel crust adds a saltiness that plain white bread simply can't match. Whether it's a pricing gift or just an underappreciated product, one thing is clear. Employees are not waiting around to find out if it stays in stock. 12 frozen finds. 12 employee secrets. All hiding in plain sight inside a freezer aisle most shoppers rush past without a second look. What ties all 12 of these together is simple. None of them get flashy packaging or big advertising budgets. They just sit quietly in the freezer waiting for someone to notice. Employees notice because they see what actually sells out week after week. Now you know exactly what to look for the next time you walk down that aisle. Keep this list handy on your next shopping trip. A little advanced knowledge is the difference between grabbing the good stuff and walking past it without ever knowing what you missed entirely. Thanks for watching. If that matters to you, hit that like button and subscribe. We're exposing what Aldi employees actually buy off these shelves, so you never walk past the good stuff again. The video on your screen? It's the next piece of the puzzle. Click on it on the left and I'll meet you there.